Okay, everybody, back to color and our watercolors and creating something new with the 6 colors that we looked at last time in the color wheel. This time we're going to be using straight lines, and I'm just getting my paper set up. What I did first is I created, see it there? I created a rectangle that kind of goes the length of the paper. It was about 1 inch wide, and then I kind of just marked off. First, I made the line that's about halfway down that rectangle, and then I made what just roughly by eye I did marks along each third. So there's 6 spaces, kind of evenly spaced out. Now I'm going to make another bigger box, and it's going to be the rest of the paper basically. And I'm going to use those same 6 divisions going across. And they're even-ish. We're going to do 2 things here. Let's go with red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. I know some of you would prefer purple, but we're going to call it violet. That is kind of the more technical term for that. Okay, starting at the top, primary, secondary, primary, secondary, primary, secondary. We just took that color wheel that we did last time and went around the circle from red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and unrolled it and put it on a piece of paper. So what you're doing in this assignment, now that you have your box with 6 long rectangles and your box or your rectangle here with 6 smaller sections, sorry, that's the dog drinking water. Dog's done drinking water. What you're going to do is 2 different things. In the wide bands, you're going to go from full saturation to very light wash. A wash just means a watercolor with a lot of water in it, so that it's really, the saturation is very low. It's just not going to be as bright. So I want in this bar for you guys to get the feeling of creating kind of a spectrum from full saturation down to almost no paint at all. And you're going to do that for all of the 6 colors. In this band, you're going to do red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, but you're not going to let them be divided from each other the way they were divided here. What you're going to do is the equivalent of this, but you're going to be blending all of the colors as you go through. So maybe this is pure orange in the middle, but as you get over here it's going to be kind of yellow-orange, and this is going to be orangey yellow, and then you're going to get to pure yellow, but then as you get over here you're blending, starting to blend into the green, and so forth, all the way around. So it's more like a rainbow, because a rainbow doesn't have hard divisions between the different color areas. It has a smooth spectrum. That's the idea with this. And because that's the idea with this, I'm going to find my eraser. There it is. And I'm going to erase these divisions here. Okay, I can see from the paper where I've written ROYGBV where those colors want to be. and where the pure green will be, etc. Okay, so I don't want the pencil interfering with my nice gradients between the colors. Okay, so that is the basic idea, and I will now commence to paint. Got my water, got my mixing area. I'm using the same plate turned upside down again. Don't really need my ruler anymore. Got my watercolor set. And as before, I'm only going to be using 3 primary colors. And here's the thing about watercolor. If it dries, and it will dry pretty quickly, you can always add water and have it come back to be paintable. Not true of most other colors. So I'm going to start by looking for my red. I'm just going to lay some red out here. I don't really need to put as much red here because there's always red here. What I do need is orange. So now I'm going to rinse off my red and get my yellow. It's got a little green in it from last time, but I'll just hope that doesn't make it for problems. Okay, again, before I go back into the yellow, I'm going to rinse this off because what I have there is really mixed with red. So if I were to just go straight back to the little well with the yellow in it, I would be getting red all mixed up in my yellow, and we don't want that. My next secondary color is going to be green. So to do that, I'm going to go with yellow and blue, of course. And the blue I'm using is this one, I think. Okay, I'm going to take this excess paint off. Put a little more yellow in there. Got a green that I can work with. Okay, now we can clean that off. And violet. Okay, I've got my 3 secondary colors here all mixed up, and I've got my primary colors right here inside my watercolor set. So I'm ready to go. I'm going to do the washes first. So I'm going to just experiment with how much red I get at first. So we're going heavier and heavier as we go on. Okay, now I'm going to add a little water. And kind of go back and add more water when you think you need it to be even lighter. Okay, I'm going to go in for some heavier red here. Get a little bit lighter here. Even lighter. I am using my plate to mix the red. Okay, and now I'm really going with very light color over here to the point where I can just paint in almost nothing at the end. I just spattered paint all over my project, that's okay. Okay, so the goal is to see if you can come up with a kind of mixed spectrum from lots of saturation, like taking it directly from the watercolor set, to very little. And now I'm going to do that with orange. I think I'm going to need more orange than I had to begin with. But start with some pure orange. Okay, so far I've got red and orange. A little hard to see with the light, but looks okay so far. Got some glare there. At some point I'm going to want to change my water because it's going to be too dirty and it's just going to start to corrupt my other colors. Yellow. Now I'm going straight to the well on yellow, but I am going to mix it in here so I can mix it with water. Here we are, done with the first part. So what I did was I played around with each of the colors, making them out of the primary colors, and I just experimented with adding different amounts of water, and sometimes you can go back and add more water where you already have a darker paint and see if you can dilute it and spread it out. Sometimes you can go back where it's too light and use some more pure color and put that in. So watercolor is pretty nice that you can always kind of move it around. Even when you think it's kind of dried, it seems to be soluble still, so that you can kind of move it around some more and change the saturation. So having done all that, I'm going to go back and replenish a few of these because my red is getting light and my orange and yellow and green and stuff. I need a little bit more so that I can then do the spectrum here from red through violet, but without the hard lines between them. So I've got my 6 colors on my palette. Make sure I start out with a clean brush. Keep a little piece of, this is just a Kleenex that you can use for this. I'm going to turn it this way, and I know that my red, like my most pure red, is going to be right here in the middle. feel like I need a little more of that red. Okay. So my red's going to be here. And as we go along here, it's going to turn into orange. So I'm going to get rid of some of that and pick up a little of my orange. Okay. And then I'm going to mix some orange over here and some red in here. And some pure red here. And with that, basically done.